Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening blessings and salutations.
Um, Tonight, Mr. Downs is going to be taking the reins. Randy's trying to come back on, but it's not coming back on yet. So go ahead, Lucian.
Good night, all. So tonight we're going to be discussing dated in the COVID era. I think like a lot of times people think that you know, well, I mean, I could see that when you start when you're single in this time, um, I don't know, Debbie, like,
We want to start with any other comments that we see that this week that was.
oh yes, yes, yes.
I got you,
So
bro. I got you.
Good night, Patricia.
I I appreciate it. So was there anything within the group that y'all thought like really stood out to you? Any posts, Randy?
It could be your own
No,
post.
I'm looking at post now.
It could be
Well,
yours, Randy. Can
I
you
guess,
post all week?
yeah, I did. I posted one earlier. Um, what it is I'm trying to look it up. Please bear with me. Um, no, I put something in regards to people
You
that,
want me to read it?
uh, yeah, please, because I'm looking for it.
You posted something that said when you finally meet that someone, is that the one who tries their
Yeah,
hardest to be with you, regardless of how difficult
right.
you are? Stay with them. Stay with them because finding someone who is willing to be with you at all costs doesn't happen every day. Is that the one?
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So the talk behind of that was that that was a personal hit for home kind of thing for me, with me trying to really put everything into it, and uh, pretty much no matter how uh, disorganized or flawed the situation was, I was committed to make it work. And with that, I said this before, I lost myself. And by doing so, it was such a toxic situation for me that I felt in many ways that I was more valuable. So I had to release that situation to regain myself, reset, understand me as a person and value that I have for me and my self worth, to move forward and leave that behind. So, in this day and age, with the uh, pandemic that we're in, it limits you as far as physical connection with a lot of people because you can't go here, you can't go there. Everybody's worried about spreading, the virus, and taking health a little bit more serious. So they tend to turn to different alternatives. Online dating, you get to meet more people and don't have to actually physically be in their presence. It's a little bit more safe, um, but it's definitely strenuous. Having them in your face 24 hours a day if you were in a relationship, you get to learn them, and maybe you come to find out you don't like them, and it's just not what you thought it was, because all this time is being spent together where you didn't think of certain things before, and now you get to think of everything, and you come to find out you might not be compatible, but then you come to find out some realities that you really love this person, and back and forth. So I think it's a plus and a minus dating in the pandemic. So just your view and what you get from it.
What about you, Miss Karen? Anything stood out in a post this week?
I think one of the comments that stood out for me is where they talk about, I don't know if it was a deal breaker or it's a situation where what would make you, was it walk away from a relationship? What was the post? I think it was a post that you put up, Lucy.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what killed your feelings for someone that you were madly in love with? I wouldn't say madly in love with, but one thing that would kill it for me would be dishonesty. Um, if someone is dishonest, and I think and clinginess. I can't take
Yeah,
a
you
clingy
put
person.
clinginess. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Clinginess.
yeah, when they clingy, like they always have to be up underneath you, like um,
So you need your space. That's what you're saying, Miss Karen.
we all
You
need
like
space.
your space.
When you say cleanliness, what are you talking about?
Clingy, clingy.
Oh,
Clingy, like
cleanliness. Oh,
clingy, like when you put your dryer sheets in the washing machine and it cling, that kind
Stage,
of clinginess. Like
stage eight
somebody that
clingy.
some people that don't respect your space, like they come to have a conversation and they I believe in personal space. I think that's why so much people have COVID is because people don't respect people's personal space. Um,
Right.
it's important. Like distance makes the heart grow fonder. I'm a firm believer in that. I think we need time together just like we need time apart. I can't take a clingy person. I can't take somebody who latch on to you. That's for kids when they're going through that initial
You,
latching
you, you even
stage.
hit your hip in the latch on to you.
I know they latch on to you. They want to be in your every moment. No. Maybe that's me. I know some people that enjoys the attention. And I think it comes from being in a sound place in my life where the attention doesn't do anything momentous to me. So whether you give me the attention or you don't, it doesn't make or break me, you know? So I can't take the cleanliness. I can't take the
So do you
carry.
think?
And, no.
So do you think you feel that way because you've been single for so long?
No, I feel that way because I like my space. I like the fact that even though when I wasn't single, I could not deal with the clinginess. Like, you know, I want to miss you. I want to see you. If I see you every day, there's no desire to see you when you're not there. It's good for some people. Some people like it. It serves different purposes.
Well, we got to come back to that one there for sure because that's one of the problems then with the pandemic. People
Yeah,
there with each other so much all the time causing a lot of problem, but we ain't
yeah,
got
but
to come back to
we
that
could be
one,
in the
Karen.
same house and we could be in the same space, but we don't have to be up underneath each other. Like, I've had a roommate. My sister was my roommate, and we lived together for 4 years, and we coexisted, but we wasn't all up in each other's space. Like at some point, you separate. I My experience with living with significant other is not. I don't have a long resume, so my lack of experience may speak for it. But I did it for a stint, and I didn't like it.
Okay. What about you, Louis?
Oh, are we going to acknowledge Debbie? Are we going to do that?
Oh, yes, we can do that.
Let's
You can do
let's
that,
let's
Louis.
let's let let me take this moment first to. There's a lot of craziness that's been going on in the community, and definitely I want to just extend my deepest and heartfelt condolences to the entire Shang family. Very well known. I know them very well. I'm sure a lot of you know them very well. I grew up with them. So I want to take this opportunity to extend the condolences for them. They lost Stacy today at such a brutal and senseless way to go. So definitely, we want to just take this opportunity to um, express that to the family once again. Um, so the post that that I that I saw is uh, by Keisha. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so please,
Yeah, just like Keisha.
Keisha Ramtahal.
Romantic?
I think I said that
I just call her
correctly.
Keisha.
And she says, it says rather, the post that she put up, perfect relationship is not that you never get angry, upset, or irritated with each other. It's how fast you resolve and bounce back to normal. And that could definitely, I could see how that plays a role in this pandemic, in because being together for such in confined areas for such a long period of time could definitely cause contention. But I've always said, it's how you react to things that you can't control is what's going to determine your character, who you are as an individual. So it's being with somebody for such a long time. If you could stand them, if you can't stand them, it's the resolve that definitely determines, who you are and who your true self are, who true self is rather. Um, with regards to being in a pandemic, and I guess we're gonna get back to all of that. We're just going through post right now, right,
Right.
Lucien? Right.
Yes.
So we'll get back to that. But that's the one post that I thought was interesting. It's how you bring it back to maintain that peace and to maintain order in the relationship.
Miss Debbie.
Um, catch me off guard. Um, no, there was a lot. I guess there was a lot that came through in the past like week and a half. I don't think necessarily anyone stuck out to me, but I definitely wanted to like just acknowledge people for continuously sending in posts, because again, just like our conversations give people different perspectives, um, not only the posts but the comments that people write, because there's times when like I read something and I think about it in one way, and then when I read some of the comments I'm like, wow, I didn't think about it that way. So I definitely appreciate everybody putting up a comment when something touches them, interests them, or they agree, and not just agree, but why you agree.
Or
So that,
disagree,
huh?
or disagree.
Or disagree, exactly, because there's times when, but it's just the good banter that I appreciate from everybody. But there wasn't necessarily one that stuck out to me.
I like the respectfulness of it as well. Like people not, even though you might disagree with a perspective, no one tries to like, attack anyone. Is you see other groups, people just attacking each other and so. I'm very I appreciate the way how we go about dealing with stuff and not trying to down people for their perspective.
Correct, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's there's a lot of things that shape who a person is, how they feel, the experiences that they have, and I do, and I've said this from jump. I really do appreciate the safe space that this platform has created to allow people to speak their perspective, their experience without being attacked. So um, that is what I would like to leave with everybody today.
And last but not least,
Chain
Miss
last, because you didn't say yours, but anyhow, go ahead.
Umi,
Yeah.
I try to be like you.
Mm.
Miss Pinky.
Mine's, I would pick my post with Bob Marley. Maybe because it's Bob and anything he do is always right for me. So maybe that's it. But it was about
That was one of my good ones too, by the way. I
thanks.
like that. I like that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we are like looking for perfection in people, and then we become disappointment when we see their flaws. And I think a part of love is accepting people and their flaws, as well as accepting ourselves and our flaws, knowing that we are not perfect. Because a lot of times we look at ourselves and we say, well, I bring this, that to the relationship, and it's all good. We love to just go down the list of all the good that we are and what we bring to relationships, but we never look at our bad side. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just life, So I think that post said a lot to me because for many different reasons. I think we live in a world today where we have a lot of models. We're on Facebook, our show is a Facebook show, and we're seeing, perfect models. And so we're looking for, and then, we got this whole body thing image, and we just got a whole lot of things that's happening, and it's surrounded around perfection. And I think it's all a facade. It's all fake. So, we're talking about perfection, but at the end of the day, it's all fake. It's all a lie, because there is no such thing. And in the post, he referred to nature. And as artists, both of all the artists, we know as artists, there is no such thing as perfection, right? And there is beauty in they're not perfect, right? So
I think
that's
piggybacking on what you're saying, I think a true testament of love is to accept someone with all their faults
The flaws.
and still
Yeah.
love them. You know what I'm saying? And it's very true about perfection. Perfection is in the eye of the beholder. Like I remember I went to Art Basel, which is like the biggest art show in the world or whatever, right? And I remember like this guy who was my mentor, he was just like, when you do the sides of the canvas, it gotta be perfect and make sure it's all clean and nice. And so I went and looked at a painting that was like $75,000. So I went around the side and looked at it. That farm looked so taped together and half. I was like, what? But looking at it, it looks perfect. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the side and you see all the imperfections, it still doesn't change the dynamic of the painting. It just shows you that even within imperfection, there's perfection. You know what I'm saying? So once again,
well
it
said.
all depends on how you view things, within yourself. So to not be judgmental to other things just by face value. So
So would the
my
term
go ahead.
perfectly so would the term perfectly imperfect be perfect to say?
Exactly,
Exactly. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So mine was from Pauline Lizama. I think that's her last name.
I agree with you with this one. Go
Mm.
ahead.
How you know which one it is? How you know which one it is?
Because guess what? I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, there we
Mm.
go. There we go.
Oh,
All right. So until men and women start having honest conversations about who they truly are, what demons they battle with, where they lack, and what they truly want, love will continue to be a temporary emotion. Honesty and communication are key. And that is so
But that's
dead.
basically what we just said with the perfection, right?
Exactly. The thing about it is, I think people, they sit down and they think that they won't be accepted if they come as they are, and that in itself like leads to the relationship being already on. Especially when you start off like that, you end up like the relationship does not go on a good foot because you're already being dishonest. You're not like showing your true self. So I think that was a very deep post. I don't know why. I think I posted that already, but maybe. I don't know. But I think it's
So
a very, very deep post.
here's something we said last night. So how is it that a woman can wear a weave, eyelashes, have all these fake attributes, but yet a man can't have it, and still the woman is accepted? So is she really lying about who she is with all of this accoutrements that she got on? Because
Well,
that's not who, you know.
I think by it's not a lie, but it's who they want to be, but it's not who they are. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because after everything come off, you still that person. But once you put it on, it's like you putting on your mask. I remember I used to date this young lady, and she was beautiful, like naturally beautiful. Like she didn't even need to wear makeup. And I'm like, why are you wearing makeup? She was just like, well, it feels like if I'm like putting on my armor and I'm going out in society, you know?
Hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, so you want people to, she said like it's just me being it's like my protective barrier. So people can't really see me through it. And I'm like, that's a very interesting way of putting it. So
Hmm.
I guess some people use it as beauty modification and enhancements and stuff like that. But I just think when it comes down to it, after a while the looks, it doesn't make a difference. It still comes to what that person has internally. And
I
that is,
also, oh, go ahead. I
go
got you.
ahead. Go ahead, Karen.
I think it goes to intentions. What is your intention when you put it on? Like if your intention is to cover up something, some women use it to mask something
Right.
else.
Alter
Um,
egos, alter egos. They come out to be a
exactly.
different
Some
person.
women use it to enhance, to portray something that doesn't exist. Some women use it because, like me, I don't grow natural eyebrows, so I needed to go from this ear to over here. So I put a little tail on it so I don't look like Dr. Spock, you know? So I think it goes to the intention. If they're in doing it to deceive you, because some of it goes beyond makeup. It look like witchcraft, like really, like when
Yeah,
you see
exactly.
somebody's
Halloween.
before and after, and I agree with you. Are they really true? I think it's if the intentions are. Some people it gives them that boost. Like when I put it on, it's because I want an even complexion. Now you don't have to, especially if you're doing it just to take pictures, you can use a filter. So I don't even waste my time putting on makeup because I have these filters. But if before, once upon a time, you have to take a picture, you have to go in the natural light. You have to put on a little makeup so your face look nice and even, because as women, we don't want to have blotches. We get blotches for different reasons. During the winter time, I get blotches around here. But you want that even tone when you take a picture. Now we're lucky that filters give us that even tone. So I don't have to go out even put on eyebrows anymore, because if I choose a certain filter, I have even tone eyelash. I have eyelash, which I've never put on. But when I want to pretend I have it on, I will use a filter. But it's not to
You
deceive
don't
me.
use a filter to put on eyelash?
Yes, girl, they got the little ones with the eyelash. You have a filter for it.
You
I
got
mean,
filter for everything, man.
Snapchat, yeah. But like I said, it goes back to intentions. If you want a filter to put a rose in your hair, but it's for the fun of it. I'm just doing it so when I take a picture, my face look nice and even without the work. Because putting on makeup is some serious stuff. This contouring and listen, I have
It's like
some youngins in
painting.
my family. This thing is some serious stuff. It's also
But
expensive.
you know what? It is also a form of expression yourself artistically also.
Exactly, because when they
Because
put it
my
on, these girls be looking at like when my daughter put on her makeup. I mean, she's
I'm
beautiful,
glad
but
you
they be
mentioned that.
looking,
It's mostly the younger generation. Maybe we should
yeah,
get some of the younger folks to come on and talk about
they
that.
be
What that
looking.
well,
means to them.
my daughter, she does it. And I used to say, well, why you don't wear it? You know, why you don't wear so much? My daughter could take like an hour plus to put on makeup if she want
Wow.
to for a specific, yes, yes.
If they have to
Wow. So what's the
contour and
goal though?
want
What's
to
the
Like
goal?
if she
What's
going
the
for a
goal?
wedding or something like that, like if she dating a wedding or she doing something, she could take over an hour to put on makeup. My oldest
But
daughter.
let me ask you a question. Is it to look different or to enhance what you already have?
She feels that it's her artistic expression. She loves it. Just like how you like to paint, Lucian, she likes to do it on her face. And she likes the result of it after. And when you see the result of it after, you're like, wow, she truly transforms herself. So
Mhm.
I love what Karen said. It's intention, is the motivation behind what you do and what you do and why you do it. Everybody that wear makeup ain't wearing it for the same purpose,
It's
with
to
the
enhance.
same
There's different
intention
reasons
or with
for
the
it.
same
Definitely.
motive behind of it. So yeah, and when she do it, and I said, why you have to? And she said, Mama, this is how I want to express myself with the clothes and everything. And she likes to do it. And I actually like to see her when she done.
I love to see it, but I'd be like,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll be like, Mommy, let me do your makeup. I was like, look, ain't that serious? I just need a little eyebrow. I just need a little, for me, just a little eyebrow. I just want a little even tone. My thing is for the even tone. But they have to tell me about contouring and reverse contouring.
Oh,
And
they
then I
teach you what they don't try and teach me, but
and I
me,
get
I'm a
vexed
one.
and I be like, you know what? Me ain't going nowhere again. Just leave me alone. And that's it. Because to me, it's too much. They take hours. Like if they're going out for 12 o'clock, then girls will start getting ready early, but they're beautiful. It's I'm not deflating against the fact that they do it to enhance their beauty. But if they take it out, they don't really need it in my book. But
Well,
I might not have to tell me the lighting when the lighting
Yeah,
hits.
they might, yeah, they're beautiful without it,
no,
you
no,
know?
nobody's knocking the fact that it's not beautiful. I think, yeah, like they have the reasons. But I know Lucian. I know when we go and we see this, and then tomorrow when you wake up and you see a whole different person, that's the challenge. Randy,
Yep.
I know you understand that. That is the challenge. That's where men are deceived, and that's where the question comes in. You know, is it for enhancement? Or you sometimes you're just a whole different person. Like,
But like Aida said, have the conversation. Like Lucian had the
wait a
conversation.
minute, when you go someplace and you meet someone for the first time, oh wow, boom, boom. And
But
then the next day
you
it's like
not
a
tell?
whole different person.
Can you not pick up on the fact that
Have
Of
the
course you can.
conversation.
You
okay,
might
Figure out
you might see a little
beforehand.
you might see a little
when
eyelash
the
or a little
eyelash look
eyebrow.
like this, do you really think them eyelashes
So,
there?
No, first
so
of
let me
all,
just
hold up.
say this.
Yeah, hold
Let me
up.
just say this quickly, Louis. I like how this conversation is going because it's gonna transpose us straight into
Okay, yes,
the
into
topic
another
at
thing.
hand. because this is all part of dating during COVID. I think that it's had like a spike in women wearing makeup because we're doing a lot of stuff online. So you could do the filters, you could do the contouring so the light hits your face right. You know what I'm saying? So I think I like the way how this is going. We just want to interrupt and say that, but continue what you're saying.
Janos, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, again, it goes back to and date, of course, dating in COVID. No one is actually out there. That's why we're talking about the isolation. But when you do go out and when you do see someone and you do meet someone, and the next day is a totally different person, then what? Are we supposed to be?
Like that
Hey,
mask, when you don't want to tell them pull on the mask because that's
So
I
let
want
me
to tell him. I want to tell him
But
pull back on the mask.
again, I think in the whole dating look, me and my friend was talking about this just the other day. I said, women, that's how we don't dress. We don't wear spanks. We don't wear bras. We don't wear things. When we remove things, we gonna look different. And you just have to accept that fact. We don't wear lipstick. I mean, people are, I could go far, far back. People
Okay.
been wearing lipstick forever and a day.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and this is a thing, Randy. I am not willing to not wear my lipstick and my eyeliner if I going out to dinner with you. If I'm meeting you for the first time and you tell me don't come with no makeup, I gonna ask you why, because this is who I am and this is how I choose to
I
express
still
myself.
think I know you.
Okay.
I
But
don't,
why?
Well,
And
hold
it's
on,
not that
hold
I
on,
have
hold
an
on.
issue with wearing makeup or not. But the thing is, why you
Okay.
want me to do something you want me to do and not want me to show up how I want to show up. Go ahead, Randy. Sorry.
Okay.
I was just finishing
So
what I was
it's not. It's not. The discussion is not about how you want to show up. I think what me and Louis trying to convey here is that it's kind of a small deception because you want to present yourself in a certain manner. That's cool. That's how you want to present yourself. So now, when you sent this representative of yourself, and we accepted that representative of you, and then we come back to find out that you had to change your representative, and now we see your true self. I felt that's a sign of deception because we as men, let's just put it as it is. You hear a woman today say, well, I want a man with such and such size package. Well, if God give we that, that's all we have. And then are you disappointed because the package is not up to standard? So now here we come. We want you because you had on this makeup,
Karen,
you look a
Roberta.
certain way, you got on this hair, and all of this, and we think you're all of that. And then when we get
so
home or we get to that point and you take off everything, we don't want that because that's not what came the first day.
so let me ask you this,
It's a
Randy. Do you
deception.
think
I don't know what to tell you, Randy, but
Randy?
I gonna say this.
Wait, hold up, Pinky. Let me ask you this, Randy. So do you think that that's a sense of insecurity? That's why they have to put on
No,
all these
no, no,
accessories?
no. I agree with a lot of y'all's answers. Some are artistic views. Some are some kind of skin. She want contouring, she want lighting to enhance her features, or to, like Karen said, her eyebrow them is whatever, whatever, and she to do what she do for that. I ain't got no problem with that.
She didn't do
You
what she did
understand?
for that.
The problem I have is
Mine's too.
men
It stop right there,
men
Randy, and
do
you might
not
see a girl with
have.
some nice arches, and you gonna picture over me because mine stop right there. So I have to present myself in an attractive manner so you could see me
That's
before you
fine.
see she. That's it. When
That's
we
fine.
go out as
That's
women, we supposed to present the best representative of ourselves because we ain't going out there. Like sometimes I tell the people at my job, I ain't here for my looks. But when I go to a club, for me to get a nice free drink, I have to be presentable. I have to look good. I have to look attractive. I have to make you
relax
jealous.
This is
yourself,
You man
Louis.
ain't gonna dribble with a woman with her eyebrows snapped, yeah, and she got blotches in her face and her, certain
Yeah,
dress
but
could
how
be
you
on.
expect me to react when you roll over and when I turn around in
So
the
what
pillow,
you
you roll
telling
over in the
me?
So
pillow,
why you
and
why
then
you
you
rolling
come
over
with
when
this
you after
half?
the first night? You supposed to have a waiting period. You
No,
supposed to
I ain't
tell
saying
me
that this don't gotta be the first night. This don't gotta be the first night.
Let
This
me
could be
do,
a month. This could be 2 months
then,
later, and then
then
all
you
of a
can
sudden I see half.
then
I
you
think
should
you
have
had a
had the
quote like that.
So let me
conversation. It's
so let
true.
me
You should have a
Exactly, the
conversation.
conversation.
So
You
let
know
me ask
something,
you a
Louis? Let me
question.
tell you. You know, I got these eyebrow. I just fix them. Let me know.
No,
Let me
but
know. Don't
did
just
you have
surprise me one
different?
day. I there
Did
with
you
you
have
2 months
different
later, and then it's like
conversation?
half.
But
It's
Louis, okay, I
Ooh.
understand where you're coming
Well, if
from,
you
Karen,
but
got
Karen,
half
mean
an
Karen.
eyebrows and
First
they
of
know how
all,
to fix it
hold
for the
on.
temporary moment, why you got problem?
No, no.
Look,
go ahead,
Beyonce,
Louis.
everybody love Beyonce. You think Beyonce look so when she take off her hair and her makeup? Come on. You
We've
think
all
Right?
seen
J-Lo look
Beyonce
the
without
way
hearing me.
J-Lo look? You think Oprah look the way Oprah look? This
Yeah,
is
but
what we are faced
There
with.
is
This
but
is,
then why
nothing.
aren't you
please,
seeing
I
her
so
in
love
different
them
We're
women.
not. We're
situations?
not.
so let
We're
me
not looking for the Oprahs and Beyonces. Okay,
This
Why
is
aren't
the
you
we're not
seeing
point
doing
her
I
in
that.
am
different
making. This
situations
is the
though?
world we live in. And I hear why you're saying about the women being fake. But I say you should have the conversation. Because if you have the conversation, but I so agree with Lucian and what he said about this modern day dating with the COVID. And me and Debbie had this discussion this week. Because I don't tell people, do not look at me and say, oh, Pink, you look perfect or you got a nice body. You don't know why I got. You see me on screen. When you see me in real life, that's a whole nother different story. And when you see me in real life, that's what counts. Because at
so
the end of the
Pinky,
day, we could
so
filter.
Pinky,
We
let me ask
could
you a
do all
question.
these things.
Let's bring it full circle here. So you're saying that the main motivational factor is to be attractive for a man?
My main motivational factor is to look myself in the mirror and say, hey girl, you look good. I like how you look. Let's go there. If Lucian
Okay,
Exactly.
tell me,
okay,
if Lucian,
okay, but remember too, people on the panel were just saying that they want to put their best foot forward when they go out there. So why can't your best foot be you in your regular form?
it
Why
could
But
change
be.
it?
what if they wear that even if they're not? I mean, there's people who do those things to attract someone, right? But there's
Right.
people who they do that even if they're not in a like they're not looking for someone. They
I'd have
just
dress up to go
want
to
that to wear
Walgreens.
to feel more comfortable.
I dress up to go to Walgreens. Like right now, I got some boots that I haven't worn in 2 years, and I put them on with my jeans, and I don't dress up. I'm only going to Walgreens. Like
You
that's
know what?
it.
I was thinking about doing that the other day. I was like, I need to
Girl.
practice my heels. Maybe I should just wear my heels to
Just
Walmart.
girl. And then you're only going in Walgreens for 2 minutes. I don't dress up. I got some boots that come up to my thigh. I don't put and I did North Carolina. And
Oh,
ain't that
girl.
cold. Just throw them
But
out with some
but
jeans and
I just,
rock it.
I
Because
don't.
it's
The
a
thing is, I
feeling you
don't
get.
mind it. I don't mind it. But like Pinky said, I think at some point, obviously you could tell when things are not real. I mean, we could tell clearly. But I don't know if it's supposed to leave some mystery but it definitely leaves us curious as to see what the real you, the natural you looks like.
But there
And I
there was
think
a
what's that?
there was a quote one time, I think it came out from what's his name? Madea, whoever acts. Tyler Perry
Tyler
was saying
Perry.
when you meet somebody, you should be able to experience them when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're vexed. You're
And all the
supposed to be
seasons,
experiencing that person in different lights. Like
and
you
all
should
the
see her when
seasons.
she home in her Harlan dress that she put on when she come and she take off every day. I think you should be able to see people in a diverse setting. Like just don't only see her when she pretty and dress up and she got that wig because you're gonna get a heart attack when she pull off that wig, take off them
You
spanks.
should know.
But
You
the
should
thing
know
is, wait
that's.
a
You
minute,
should know that's a wig, dudes.
but we're only
We
talking about women.
The
And
women.
granted, women do it way more. But
well,
I've
yeah.
seen many videos where men are bald and they're doing all kind of
The
hair stuff.
toupee.
It's not even like it's like beyond the toupee. Like they literally have nothing, and then like
Yeah,
the
because it's
I've
barber
man
seen
wigs. They
that,
have they have
yo.
man
up
wigs, and
I
it's a
saw that the
million
other
dollar
day. I was
industry.
like, damn, who's that?
So
or putting in dread. I
let me
mean,
answer Miss
Coloring
Kira
men
Williams.
coloring their hair just like women coloring their
Yeah,
hair. So
but
I
yeah,
don't
but
weird
this
thing.
yeah, but okay, but the whole thing about Kira Williams,
uh-huh.
but I
Yeah.
think men are quite the same. Don't y'all make sure you go out and get that shape up? Yeah, but we're using our natural hair though. We
No,
ain't
not
adding
nowadays.
nothing to
Someone
it.
Who made
listen,
that
I
comment?
Kiva.
Kiara Williams.
Oh
Kira
God,
Williams.
Kiki, okay, Kiki.
She did it on YouTube. Thank
But
you
you
for
know these
joining
men now
me.
who are spray painting their
Thank you,
beard.
Kiara. Thanks for
Right.
watching.
I saw one. I went on a date one
Mhm.
time, and a guy did that, and I was so distracted. I'm sitting there, and I'm
Exactly. And that's
I'm
how we
looking
feel
at
too.
it, And
That's
after
how
that
we
thing
feel
going through
too.
my brain, I'm like, what if it rains? Like, what would he do? What would he run? I didn't hear nothing he said on the date. We never went on a second date because I'm like, it looked so from far here, looked nice. He had a nice bald head. And you know, we gonna get caught up in the tall black and bald. Nice tall bald head. And when I sitting there at the table and I'm looking at his beard and like totally distracted. I'm sure he asked me questions and I'm like, okay. Um, yeah. I was distracted. And I
So
guess
what
that's
was
how
your
you guys feel.
so what was your thought about the guy?
Me,
Did you
the
think that
beard, the beard just killed it. That was like it. I was like, because
So
it's
then
It
not
was
that's
a
what
it
happened
was
to
a
you.
fake. Was it
That's
a
what happened
fake
to
beard?
both of you.
What do you say,
and that's
Karen? Was fake?
and that's how we feel when you see y'all with that big
but
ass
we could
eyelashes
identify it.
and
Why aren't you
it's just
identifying it
crazy.
by now before you
But
end up?
then you should know. I don't see
I
how
knew that
men,
from the
now we
jump.
can't help it that you choose to live in, and I guess women know it because I choose to live in a fantasy world. Because if I see people eyelash like Karen, say looking so, and then you see people hair all the way down past, like my hair
How
went
could you
down back
not
to my,
know?
why
That's
would
your
you think
fault.
that's my natural hair? Like that's not my fault, you
And you
think
know
so?
what? I'm gonna take everything back. It's your
Okay,
fault. And you
okay.
should be able to
So I have a
identify
question.
when a woman eyelash look like this, it's not naturally
If
growing.
my lip
Okay?
fire red, you
When
think that's
when
a natural lip?
when she got beady beads
Okay,
back
I
here
have a
and her hair
question.
long down to her
I have
butt,
a
that's
question.
not her hair. Like you
Okay,
guys should
Randy.
be able to
Right.
identify the real from the fake if you've been doing it for so long. Because I knew that wasn't his beard because it was perfectly spray painted and the hair wasn't growing out at the top part and it was growing out at the bottom part. I knew that at the date. So I ain't gonna take he home and wake up the next morning and everything there on my pillow. I knew that from the jump. You knew that from the jump start. So why would I
Woman,
end up taking him home for he to take off the wig and for he to take off, he prosthetic? No, I knew that from the get go. He walking with a severe limp and his pants foot was
But again,
clean.
but
I
again,
knew
we
he had
have
a
to we have
prosthetic.
to we have to respect the fact that some people just I mean some people are doing that because of their own insecurities and they feel like that's what's going to
exactly.
attract a man, and maybe after they talk and they get an opportunity to have a connection, that won't be such a factor. But sometimes the insecurity isn't just about a date or whoever they're in a relationship with. It's just about how they see themselves in the
It's about
world.
themselves, yeah.
There's times when I like to throw on a wig. I don't do it often, but I've done it
I like my
just
wigs
to do
have
something
names.
different.
My name is Shakira. I got Shakira. I got Beyonce. You have
Oh
these
my
wigs
God.
and they're different
We'll,
people.
we
But
will
And
we
come
then
get
you
back
got
to
to
that.
know. I mean, how you
We'll
see
come,
Karen look like this today, and then she
Karen,
got Beyonce tomorrow, and I don't know there's a difference. We
hold
can't
on.
help it that you want to walk
How much?
around in this fantasy world.
Let's
And when we
let's
slap
bring it
you
back
How
to
out the
the
much?
fantasy,
story.
you
How much
want to
is
get
too
mad.
Let's
much?
bring
That's
it
the
back
problem.
Go ahead, Randy. Go ahead,
How
Randy.
much is too much? How much
how much
is
can
too
you
much?
take? How much can you
That's my
take?
Ask
question.
yourself that.
How
When
do
you
you
see she,
determine?
you got to ask
No, no, no.
yourself that.
I'm not
Because
the
when
one
you
throwing
saw
it
her
up.
in the bar, and you see her with the long hair and the fire red lipstick and the long eyelash, and you walk up to her, you ask yourself. I can't tell you what's too much for you. You guys answer that for
What's your
yourself.
Right.
tolerance
No,
level like?
no. Let, let,
So
let me
so
let
let's
me let me break it down for
go
you.
ahead.
It's not that what is not too much in that aspect. As a woman,
Mhm.
when you getting ready and you dressing up and you putting on makeup and you doing all these things, at what point that this is enough or this is not enough? Yes, some things undeniably you know it's fake. Your eyelash, your hair too long, or that's too bright, or whatever the case may be. Some men can pick it up. I still have a hard time determining wig and weave and because depending on who you take it to, they do such a good job. At the end of the day, if you're
Until you
sick
grab the back of the
and
head
you
and you push
have
your hand, you feel the
cancer
ridges.
and you lose your
Yeah,
hair,
women ain't letting you touch that $400 weave.
No,
No,
the
you
feeling
can't
them
touch it.
ridges in the back
well,
of the head, you
yes,
know, you're
but
feeling,
Yeah, I
yeah,
hate
so
that.
in,
To answer
so in.
Randy's question,
That's
it
the
all
worst.
goes back to intention. Because if it takes me 5 hours to get dressed, and I know we're going out at 10 o'clock, you better believe I'm gonna start getting dressed 5 hours in advance. So
So let
it's
me
And,
never
ask
and,
you.
too
and
much
it,
if
to
your
me, it take
intentions.
even more than it take more than 5 hours, Karen, because you going on a date. You gonna show up in your best. I hope men. I know men gonna try to show up in the best. You want the right perfume. You want the right outfit. You want
Everybody
the
goes
right
through a
So
shoes.
phase.
so thank you. So let's just ask this question then.
Tell me, I
So
know.
in today's so like in today's dating environment, talking about what you're going to bring and what you're going to do, would you expect your potential date to bring a COVID negative, or I mean, a COVID negative, what do you call it, test for you to go out on a date with them?
Test,
Yeah.
test
If that's your
result.
intention to
You
date,
asking Pinky who last went on a date when the bump was in and the discobal were in? Like, I don't
No, but
know.
if your
but
intention, it depends on
would
what
you
your intent.
require
If your
that?
intentions is to
I
be in
don't
close
think so.
proximity,
Should I
yeah.
ask them questions like
I mean,
bring a
I
negative
asking you about
COVID test?
vaccination status, but if I gonna be in close proximity to you,
Hell
less
yeah.
than 6 feet, we
I
Hell
didn't
should
yeah.
ask you to
yeah.
bring your COVID test is what a negative COVID test?
Hell
so
Hmm.
yeah.
would you? Or
I
what
would
about you?
ask.
How do you feel about that? Like, how you feel about a negative COVID test in this dating environment, knowing how COVID running rampant nowadays?
I
Would
would.
you put,
Okay, so for
But
me,
you
Pinky.
are not
Okay,
Randy Pinky.
I
You
haven't
are
been on
not
any.
Randy Pinky. Randy Pinky. We come
You
back to you.
want me or Randy? Who you want to answer?
Randy, we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Randy.
So I think in the past I've come to a date where they had their full medical records there available for me for STDs and all them things. That was a norm. They had to know that you were clean. I've been there, done that. I've literally walked with a copy of that I've been tested in the past month. So before this even go any further, I need to see that, or you need to see that. And I've walked with that. So if somebody was to approach me with a COVID test saying like, hey, well, I'm serious about my health. I don't, can we at least show me that you're vaccinated? Then I don't have a problem with that because my interest is genuine. So if that's a precaution that we have to take, then so be it. But at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with that. But I feel deceived when I see Beyonce and then she looked like Oprah in the movie Purple. I feel like you are an untruthful
Randy,
individual. Okay. So I am going to
Randy,
be
I get
honest
that.
and say, hey, most men, yes, most older men that don't want to age will definitely spray the beard, dye the beard, all those kind of things because they choose that's a better look for them, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, a woman can hide more than a man, and a man can only give you what he's got. You could put on a toupee, you could put on them anti-man shot that are squeezing your belly and all them kind of things so you look trim, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, when you take off your toupee, when you take off that stretch Armstrong belt to hold in your big belly, so on and so forth, that's who you are. So at a woman is completely different because that's going to change her entire physical appearance. And you could be very, very attractive internally, but because men are so visual, I can't look at you from across the room when you're looking like Beyonce and picture you like, well, I don't even know the character name in Purple for Oprah, but I can't picture you like that with a bonnet on your head and you wearing this raggedy dress because it's comfortable for you. So that comes with time. But for me to get in the door, I want to see you as natural as you possibly can. And I'm not saying that the makeup and all them things don't help. It do. But at the end of the day, I can't do that. And I feel it's unfair. I feel it's really, really. If you sick and you lose your hair from chemo and you have to wear a wig, I with that 100%. You are burn victim and you need makeup to cover your scars. I'm with that 100%. But if you is a lady that just plain out lazy and use the word convenience by wearing a wig 40 hours a week or more just because you don't want to comb your hair and put on all this mascara and all of this,
That's
I
somebody
think
who
you're
just go
full of
to the
it.
barber and all you got to do is brush your hair. You understand the perspective you're talking
Listen,
about?
you you you
I
you I, how is it acceptable and how is it that a man who does whatever things to enhance or dehance him, you're saying it's okay for him because that's who he end up showing up as. But a woman is a deception?
No, he
How is
didn't
it?
say that. He
I
didn't say that.
First, no,
no no.
He
No, I
didn't
just
say
want
that.
to
So
know if
look
that's
at
what
me.
I'm
Look
hearing.
at me. Okay. No, what I'm saying is, let me clarify that for you. If
Yeah.
you look at me here right now,
Uh-huh.
what you see right here, if I came and knock on your door, this is what you get. Okay, there
Okay,
is
but what if
no
a man
putting on
colors his
nothing.
beard? What if he colors his
Okay,
beard and even after he takes it off, we should accept him because that's how he show up as?
no,
But
I
a
that's
mean,
my
woman is a
depends.
point. That's
deception?
what I'm. That's this is what I'm explaining to you. When he color his beard, it have to grow out. So it takes time for that color to disappear. Well, I meet you Friday, you have on all of this, let's just say, and then I come to you Saturday and you have on something completely different. And then next week, we so comfortable, we laying down together, and you take off your
In a
hair.
week. In a
And
week.
I'm like, holy shucks, what going
Okay,
on?
for the sake of
And
the
you
I
see,
and I
argument,
think that's
Randy,
the luxury of being a woman. I think that adds
Randy, I hear what you're saying, but this is I going back to what I said about having conversation. That's number one. Number two, you going on a first date with somebody, it all depends. If you COVID, you going on a first date with somebody. I don't need to see if you got VDs, nor do I need to see if you have COVID. Because number one, I believe in social distancing. You going on a first date, you gonna be on that side of the table, I gonna be over here.
Tina.
You I don't know you. I gonna social distance. I don't need to
So
get
when you finish in the date and the person want to give you a hug, what you gonna tell them?
what I just tell you. You do not
Okay,
have to do a
I hear you. This we're talking about somebody you're interested in. You've been talking
listen,
on the phone.
listen. Well, but that's
Okay.
not what I just said. You don't listen. I said first date. I said on your first date, you sitting on that side, I sitting on this side. So we're talking about different things, Debbie. Learn to listen.
Trina,
Now,
you are not going on a first date with somebody and you haven't had conversation with a person.
even if I had conversation with them, if it's my first date with somebody that I do not know, you don't got to bring no VD test to me. I mean, you ain't
Oh no,
gonna
I
have
ain't
no
talking
sex.
about that. I ain't talking.
Okay? I mean, you ain't got to bring to let me know if you COVID free because you gonna be on that side and I gonna be on that side. Now it depends on the relationship.
but the table ain't 6 feet. How he gonna hear your conversation?
Exactly.
Everybody gonna hear your
I'm
conversation.
just saying, you don't have to do a COVID test. It depends on the
that's a little extreme,
relationship.
actually.
It's a
We
first
talk,
date and you
Uh,
ask me to go to
That's a
Starbucks.
little
Are you
extreme.
gonna go on a date to Starbucks with someone and you don't know whether that person is infected with a virus that can possibly kill you? That's the question.
listen. Are you
That's
asking
the
some
environment that
complicated
we are
question?
in right
I ain't
now.
going. Like, okay, I try to be vague and I try not to use me as an example. I try to be open. I try to think about people who going on, like if you do like an online date and you meeting up with somebody. I just saying for Pinky, if Pinky were doing an online dating thing and she just said, oh, we gonna meet for coffee. You ain't gotta bring no VD tests and that because we're not gonna hug. I don't know you. I can't first date I
Right,
coming
but
to
a
know
BD
you.
test requires you to have sexual interaction, so that's a little bit
I
deep.
just saying
But COVID is something that you can catch. It's in your
let me
home.
finish, Karen. Let me finish. And then this is Pinky perspective. I can't because I don't tell her you're asking somebody who ain't had a date since the bump. So here we go. We asking Pinky. This is Pinky perspective. No, that's just my perspective. If I talking to somebody, if I in relationship with somebody, that's a totally different thing. So these things go degrees based on where you are in the relationship with the person. If I in a relationship with a person, we talking about different things.
But let me
Okay?
ask you this, Pinky.
Well,
First
But let
date.
me,
how does that first encounter go? You talking about being 6 feet apart?
Yeah, but this is
Why
the
do
first
that?
date. Like a meet
I
and
I
okay.
don't walk at a farmer's market with people every day. This is my job. I don't be around people every day. I know how to social distance. I was in a car with my sister and she had COVID and I didn't get it. I got social distance. If I don't know a man, what I chumming up next to Rifa, you take a word, but I worry about a whole lot of other things too. It's just than just COVID.
No,
I
but
don't know
Pinky,
you. Why am I getting close to you?
so,
After
so
doing
let's
the phone calls and all the different online datings and whatever it is you're doing, all the, let's say 20, 50 calls, and you finally meet in person, will you require that COVID test to maybe be
I
next
don't
to
know. I
that
have to think
person?
about it, but we will have the conversation. I will think about it. But if I talking to you 50, 60 times,
Having a
or I don't
conversation.
talk to you, I think I don't know your situation, my situation. We know each other's situation. We don't know we vaccinated. Both of us done vaccinated. And, whether you had, this is a whole nother different situation. Look,
So what does vaccination have to do with anything at this point?
I don't know. I don't have no experience. I would have to research it. I'd have to
It's
ask
not about
Debbie
no,
and
no, no. But
Karen
it's
and
not about
everybody.
having, but Trina, it's not about having experience. It's about how comfortable
Would
would
you
you
approach a
feel
date?
if
Around
you're
someone.
starting to speak to someone
Someone,
and
yes.
you go out on a date. I mean, you don't know because you're not in that instant. It could be that somebody
I
would.
went on a date last year when I had COVID. I didn't ask for the test. Nobody had no COVID tests done, and I was okay with it. And that was last year.
Did
So
you wear a
Okay, so that's
mask?
last year. But what about now? Would you still have that same approach now, knowing that there's tests readily available? Would you still risk your life to go on a date with somebody who you really don't know?
I
And
am
that's
not.
why I
Pinky personally ain't going with people she don't know. Pinky personally ain't going with like online dating and stuff. I know the person. I've been talking to you for a while. We have a relationship. I going on a date with you. That's a totally different situation. So for
does
me,
COVID,
it's
does COVID
different.
know you? COVID
Say
know
that
you?
again.
I said, does COVID know you?
No, COVID have no idea who Pinky is, and they're gonna
There you
stay that
go.
way.
So the whole thing about it
And they
is,
gonna stay that
so
way.
if COVID is visiting your friend that you're going out on a date with, you think COVID gonna tell you, hey, I did infected with this man or not?
Okay, let me ask Karen and Debbie. They have more experience. Why are
I'm
we
just
talking to
saying. No,
Pinky?
I'm
We
just,
talking to Pinky who don't know
Because you
these daggone
answered.
things.
No,
Oh,
but
you
you
Okay,
answered.
answered.
You
I
answered.
saw
oh my
I saw
God.
my daughter go on a date the other day. No, nobody didn't take no COVID test for no date. Like I just going based on what
But
I
was it
see.
a conversation? Like for me, for instance, okay,
She's a grown woman. I don't know.
I haven't dated in the entire COVID era, right? And I personally use it as a justification. I'm not going to use the negative word of excuse. I use it as a justification why I don't want to get dressed, look pretty, and go out my house and get disappointed on a date because you lie about yourself online. That happens a lot. But before COVID, when you do online dating, which I have done, and you meet somebody, everyone has a standard like within 24 to 48 hours, you need to meet this person because I am not going to waste good conversation with somebody that I would never pursue a date with. So let's have a meet and greet. A meet and greet could be Apple TGI Fridays, or for me, it's a Starbucks because you could eat a Danish quick, drink a coffee quick, and just chat if the date ain't what you think it is. But that's close quarters. I'm in an environment now that you could sneeze and kill me. That's how I see it. So will give me the
And
virus,
Karen is
but I
speaking.
am going to find out.
You're sticking.
All
I'm
right.
thinking,
It's just Karen sticking.
Hmm.
Karen, you
yeah,
froze for a little bit.
is it good? But
Okay,
You're
because
it's
we're
good
going
now.
to be in close
So
counter with each
I
other
go
and we're
on.
less than 6 feet, it's not like sex. It's 6 feet. So I don't have to know you to know that if you are less than 6 feet from me and you sneeze, I can catch a virus. So I would have that conversation. Have you been tested recently? What kind of environment in you are you work like me? I work from home.
But
I
but
leave
that,
my house.
that's
I
because
leave
you
my
just
house
said
twice
you
a
meet
day.
somebody within a 24, 48 hour radius. Of
That's
course.
before COVID. That's before COVID. But now, my first thing is if I have to go out on a date with you, I have to observe what kind of lifestyle you live. If you're reckless and you're out there acting like you immune to everything, no, me ain't going on no date with you. It's always going to be a no. But if I know you live a almost protected life like me, you're responsible enough to social distance when you go out and this. If I know that prior, that means I know something about you. I would still want to know if you've been tested for the virus. Have you have any symptoms? But I'm not. I may or may not. It depends on where it's at. But we're in an environment where it's no longer just jumping up and going on a date. It's if that person has COVID and they can give it to you, not whether they're vaccinated. Being vaccinated doesn't mean you can't transfer it. So I'm saying in this environment, it's no longer let's have a meet and greet. I would talk to you for
Now,
6 months and anyone going away with you if
And
you
I'm
jump
glad
around
you
the
said that,
balloons and
Karen,
huh?
because I said I'm glad you said that about vaccinated. Because the whole thing about it too, I think a lot more people were thinking that because they were vaccinated, it was okay to go out within the public and do different things and have dates and stuff, and I'm gotten like getting sick. So that's our next question: is like, do you think that you should ask a person's vaccination status? I
It's
mean,
on the dating website. If you go on the dating website right now, there is a selection. Are you vaccinated or have you tested positive for COVID? It's there. It's not like it's not there. It's a conversation, and you can put it up on your status if you choose to. So when someone pulls up your status, they'll see if you're vaccinated. But it's not even when you're
wow,
vaccinated or not.
But,
It's
but
what it,
vaccination don't only mean that you vaccinated, you can't get COVID.
No.
To me, the
that's why you
question
still have to take
to
precaution.
me, the question about vaccination or any question is trying to find out about the individual. It's like Karen says, what kind of life do you live? Do you live a certain type of life, a reckless? Who are you? So it means saying that you, and please don't think because you didn't get vaccine, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is just questions you're ask because you're trying to identify and get to know the person for who they are. So you ask different questions. And to me, in COVID time, that is a question that you would need to ask. You would need to ask people if they were exposed to COVID. You would have to ask people if they know people who was exposed to COVID. If they was exposed to COVID at all, if they ever had it. What are what are their views and the ideas about COVID? These are all kind of questions, and it's like Karen says, for Pinky, I'm not meeting nobody today. I'm going away tomorrow. And if you're staying far away from me anyway. So Debbie, you're going to have to go next and answer the question. But there is a whole plethora of things that you want to ask a person to get to know them. Me, I got to talk to you like Karen said for months. And I asking you all kind of different things, but I'm not doing an interview. We having a conversation, getting to know people and who they are over a period of time. But that's just Pinky approach.
Let me weigh in on this. I just want to weigh. Well, Debbie, you go ahead. You were gonna
No,
say
go
something,
ahead.
Debbie?
No, go ahead.
I just want to weigh in really quick, and I'm not gonna take as long. At the end of the day, to answer the question, which is, will you ask someone to produce a negative uh, COVID test once in their presence? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Did I say yes, I would? Yes, I would. Goes back to what I told Pinky about meeting or someone over the phone or talking, having several conversations, 20, 30 conversations, and you're comfortable enough, both comfortable enough to decide, you know what, let's see each other, let's meet up. Of course I want, because I might want to sit close to you. I might enjoy your conversation so much that I might just want to get lost in your space next to you. So yeah, I would ask for someone to take a COVID test because you would want to be next to that individual, especially after spending so much time with them on the phone or like Karen do the online dating. And the online dating might even be easier for you because you're actually seeing that person. So it's like you're getting real comfortable with that individual. You'd be like, well, I really want to see you. So of
so
course
I
I
see
would
you
definitely
online.
Louis,
now to answer as far as the vaccination, the vaccination we all know doesn't prevent it. The vaccine only helps you. All the vaccine does, it helps you combat it. That's it. It doesn't prevent you from getting it. But Lucia, we're gonna ask a question.
yeah, I was gonna say, well, we're talking about dating and talking about this. So let's say now, like, you pass that now and you're about to have sex and this and that. I think that they have some dudes, them as Mr. Cruz was talking about last night. Some dudes them would like not ask you for a COVID test, but then wear a condom when they're sleeping with you. Isn't
I
that kind
wear
of
my.
like
I want
you
a
wear a mask?
test.
You
I
wear a
want a
mask?
test. I
See,
want a
wait, so
test. I want a test. Of course,
okay.
I want a test.
But
At the end of
this
the
is the
day,
thing. We're talking about this one-time meet. And Debbie, you are next. Don't think you're gonna slip on out and get away.
But we're not talking about one time
We're not
alone.
This
talking
is
about
what I'm
one
saying.
time.
this is
This is
the
what I'm saying.
initial
I
visit.
am
It's not a
saying the
one time. It's
initial,
initial.
exactly. The initial, the first meet. That's what we're saying, right? When we first meet, we asking them. My thing with this COVID test is you could leave me right now. I could be meeting with you tomorrow. And wherever you
And
leave
so
me right now, you could be exposed to COVID. So what if we got a second day tomorrow morning for breakfast? You
test
gonna bring back
again.
another test? Oh, okay. Well, that's your, yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like you saying like, okay, I'm
So
gonna go.
every time you meet the person, you ask him for a COVID test, is what you
Okay,
said.
so what I'm saying is
You
just
live with a
in
person? Do you know their
right,
whereabouts? It don't even.
exactly.
Here's the thing. It don't even matter
Even when
because
we live with
even
people,
the people that you living with, you don't know what they're doing when they go out. You don't know the practices.
exactly. Exactly. So do we continuously ask people to bring tests?
Well, I ain't sleeping with people like that.
But
If
that
I
is
sleep if I
that
sleep with you and I get intimate with you, if I'm getting intimate with you, remember this is about intimacy at this point. What Debbie was talking about. If I get intimate with you, I need to know what's going on. Condoms, if like Randy said, and I might even put on a mask if I ain't doing no damn test. I might wear a mask. Let's get freaky. I put a mask on. Let's do it with a mask.
They're gonna be
You know
like
what I
Zorro.
mean?
If you do a
Zorro.
mask and you're right in the
If we
person,
take a test,
but, but
if we take a
Louis,
test,
and
I
you
put the
say
mask
but
on.
every
Louis,
single
if
time
you
you
think
come in
And
contact
that's
with
fair.
this individual, this is why I understand it. Every time, because every time you come in contact, you want a test presented,
but
is
that's
what you
for
say.
Louis, and that might
Or
be
wear your
because of
mask.
his
Or wear your
health.
mask and
Or wear
6
your
feet
mask.
distance. Yeah.
Okay.
I have
Even
been in environments with positive folks and wear my mask, two masks every day, and I still ain't turn up positive. Thank God. Live and direct, positive, live, right next to me.
Me too. I tell you, I was sitting in the car with
Like
my
you said, what you
sister.
said. So yes, I would definitely put a mask on.
so
So here's
sexually
a
too, you
question. I
want
have a
people to be
question.
go ahead.
I have a question. So, would you have unprotected sex the first time you have sex with somebody you've met and agreed to have sex with after you've met them for and you feel this is enough time to know them? Would you have unprotected sex the first time?
Exactly. The
So
same
we
Yeah,
thing.
equating
because
unprotected
Wait, wait,
sex.
wait, 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 wait. Let she
I get
answer.
confused. I get confused.
What are you getting confused about? Randy,
The
go ahead.
purpose of that question was to demonstrate that you could get an illness to kill you from unprotected sex. So why would you not protect yourself from a virus that could kill you just the same on
Just
your
as let
first contact with the
exactly.
That
individual?
is not the point that I am.
That
That's
is
not
the
the point I
point, though.
presented in the least. That is not the point I presented. The question I am asking is this, and I don't know why people don't understand me. I gonna just say it's just a language barrier and Pinky don't talk good. That's all I gonna say. You meet a person. We talk about our children. My daughter that got to work every day. To me, once you leave your house, once you end up by yourself, you are constantly exposing yourself. So if you first meet a person, you meet them, you talk to them online, and you gonna meet them to the coffee bar for coffee for your first introduction, right? This is what we're talking about. This is the first one. Do you need a COVID
Right.
test? You say yes.
No, but
Pinky,
I'm saying this, Pinky. We're not saying yes. If you don't have a COVID test, then you protect yourself by wearing a mask.
A mask.
Just like if you don't know the person's sexual history, you use a condom. It's the
okay,
same
there
thing.
is
You
no
just protect
argument
yourself.
there. There is no
Right.
argument there
That's
because
all
I
we're saying.
told you either social distance at any cost. If I just meet a man, you don't have to bring no VD test with me because me sleeping with you, me even kissing you. So it don't matter. If I just meet you 24 hours, if I talk to you for a week, if I talk to you for a whole month, it still ain't happening. So you don't have to.
But PK, I presented to you. What if it's 30 conversations or 50
No,
times you talk to
I
this person, and you get to the
couple
point where
years
you want?
ago,
Hold on. You get to the point where you want to meet now. You're so comfortable with this person talking to them on the phone or through online dating, and now you know what? I want to see you. I want to be in your presence. Would you test? Would you require test?
couple years ago when I did go on a date with somebody that I knew that I used to talk to all the time, I would have conversation with them. We went on a date. We only hold one hand to say a prayer. And that was it. We never hug. We never do anything. We hold hand one time to say a prayer. And that was it. That was before COVID. And I had known this person for a very long time. For over a year, I had known the person. So I'm just
So,
saying, it
so you're
all
just not
depends
the
on a
you just don't.
situation and
Okay,
a circumstance, right?
right.
So
I
now we're
understand what
living
you're
in
saying.
COVID time. It again, it depends on the relationship. It depends on the situation. I hear why you're saying about the unprotected sex. I hear why you're saying that. I am in total agreement. We must protect ourselves. I just don't want us to get so comfortable that we dependent on vaccinations, that we dependent on testing, Because I think at the end of the day, we have to protect ourselves, period. You have to take care of yourself. You have to keep your hands sanitized, clean. You have to keep your distance away from people. And if you don't know somebody, then you shouldn't be hooking up with them and getting all close with them that you don't know. But that's just my perspective. Now we live in a hookup culture. And so you have to throw that there in there. I do whatever I want. I can only talk for myself. Me ain't judging
Okay,
nobody.
so let's piggyback now on relationships per se during COVID. Do you think that they have gotten better? Do you think they've gotten worse? Especially marriages, especially when we were on lockdown, because we said that they've had like a lot of freaking divorces during this whole epidemic pandemic.
Pandemic. Pinky, you don't have any numbers on that?
You know,
No,
Stan?
but it's a lot.
That you would have come to
So,
a
so
statistic on
Randy,
that.
do you think that these close quarters with these people, or your significant other, has a definite effect on your relationship, or does it force you to deal with stuff that you probably would have not been
Yeah.
able to deal with on a longer term? Like you won't find out these things because you weren't really in direct contact with this person as much as you are now.
So yes, it gonna have a positive and a negative effect. Some people didn't really know the individual for whatever reason it was, and now all this time together, you actually come to find out who they really are, and you come to see colors that you didn't see before, and you don't like it. So now you're like, I really don't like this person. And the opposite is you actually got a chance to know who this person is, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And you discover new likes about that individual, and it grow from there even more. So there's pros and cons to it. And I personally think if you're not a conversationalist, you are going to suffer more simply because now you're going to run out of topics. That's one, because you're there in the face all day, every day. So if you don't have topics, you're gonna create frustration. So if you have great conversation and you can express yourself nicely, then yes, I think you would learn good and bad things about the individual and yourself, because now you want to understand that, can this person tolerate me? Because now when I isolated, I realized that I'm a talker, or I became clingy, or I became a nuisance. So with that being said, the pandemic really, pros and cons are, you learn about yourself and the other. And if you like it or you don't like it, eh, that's how it gonna play according to each individual. But I really believe the pandemic has put stress on the dating game. It put stress on marriages and couples. And I feel that there's more benefit than it is a negative thing. We as people, we've lost contact with each other and communicating with each other. And the difference is we grow apart quicker. This pandemic bring families together, think about how many things they had to do as a family now that they probably didn't do for such a long time, and lost contact with the family bearing. So I really feel the monopoly game now for the family. We all have a game night now. So now we get to learn more about each other. We have a movie night, so everybody gets together and enjoy the movie, discuss the movie. It could bring things together. And at the same time, like I said, it could tear things apart. But I feel we in this society today, we don't gather enough to honestly work on the relationships that we have, friendship, or your brother, your sister, your auntie, your cousin, whoever kind of relationship you have. We have grown apart as a society where technology has become our worst nightmare, because now you could text something and it doesn't have that personality to go with it. So you read the text wrong and you take it the wrong way. When back in the day you would call, or it would be a face to face, and now you understand better what it is they're trying to do. So at the end of the day, I think the whole COVID thing, even though it causing a disturbance globally, I think it bring more people together. I honestly feel that's my
I
thought.
have to agree with you on the aspect of, bringing or tearing down, because it forces you to deal with your situation, and
Yes,
depending on how you want to deal with it. Your relationship could be trash, but because of this time that you're spending with this person, it could get better.
you're
Or
correct.
you can finally come to terms that, like, okay, this really ain't working, because you can't
Correct.
stand to be in the same vicinity as a
Space.
person for a
Right.
long period of time.
Right.
So I think I totally agree with your synopsis of the situation, because it is like a double-edged kind of sword, and people are being forced to deal with certain aspects of it. Mr.
Well,
Llanos, what's your take on marriage and relationships and the effect?
You don't want to ask me that.
Yeah,
What is my take on marriage and relationships during COVID?
yeah.
I don't
Have
have that
you? Okay,
experience,
let
to
me
be
ask you
quite
a
honest
question.
with you.
Let me ask you a
I
question in reference to that, Louis, because you're around people that are married,
Well, yes,
family.
and
Has it had any effect
but
on them?
but well, my parents, of course, and they've become, again, when you get to that age, I mean, they're in their 80s. It's more about companionship than anything at that point. I mean, it's having someone there with you, and that has become now their focus. You know what I mean? So it's like when one goes, the other goes with. So you know what I mean? It's like they're always together. That's their focus. My sister and her husband. I mean, the thing with the pandemic, I didn't really get to do the isolation. I worked straight through, so I didn't really get to do, like, the quarantining, like a lot of folks, like, the shutdown. I didn't get to experience that. I was working because of my profession. So I didn't experience that. And then of course I'm not, because I'm with someone to I'm not in a relationship to actually go through that. So
I got
Lucian, I'm
makeup
trying my best.
ready.
I'm trying my best to answer your question, Lucian, but I really haven't had that experience.
No, but I mean,
I
even
could
just your
only tell you about
insight. What do
others.
you think? Right. What do you think about for others? Not about necessarily
And
even.
that's what I'm saying. I could only talk about for others and from what I've observed. I mean, it hasn't, and even with my sister and her brother-in-law, they have the cream trim, so they've been also busy. But there's no change. There's no, because no one has actually been
Right.
isolated for a
Yeah.
long period of time.
But I mean,
But
has
I
it
have
brought people
seen,
together, or have they done things now that they do? Like in my family, um, in St. Martin and stuff. One of the things that they did, and I know other people would they have like Zoom meetings monthly or whatever that they never did before because people couldn't travel as frequently or whatever. So now things that they hadn't done before, now they do it. So, I mean, it's not like there's pros and cons to what has resulted because of COVID. Women
I
are working,
know,
and not women. People have been able to now work at home and be engaged with their children more that they never did before because they were in school and they were aftercare. By the time they come home, they eat, they go to bed. So
I
those
know, I know there were times when the numbers spiked where we weren't even allowed to enter my parents' home. We actually had to stay outside and have conversations with them. So that somewhat affected from that standpoint. But because you weren't able to be in the same space with them, so, and I'm sure because of them being elderly and them being high risk. So yeah, that's probably the only thing. Other than that, we've still been out during the whole time.
But
But
you
I've
do
seen,
do you do y'all not think that at that time we had exaggerated how we were behaving? Our behavior was like,
Well, it
well,
was
no,
peer
Pinky,
driven.
because no,
Yeah,
because you still, and presently we still have to protect ourselves.
yeah.
Then and
that's not
now.
what I'm saying, but the fears that they had us living under, you couldn't touch a paper bag, you couldn't. I mean,
But
People
the
will come
science,
in.
but the science shows that levels of transmission. So yeah, the fear. One thing man fear is the unknown. So what we're not sure about something, we definitely gonna do what we need to do to protect ourselves. You see, and there's still a lot that we don't know. We know that it'll kill you though. We know that you can die. You know what I mean? We know that much. And we know that the vaccine doesn't stop you from getting it, but the vaccine helps you to combat it, to survive. And even, of course, if you have predetermined conditions, that's a whole different story. But yeah, we still don't know everything out that there is.
I feel that the panic and the way we were behaving before, me being one of them, looking back, that fear is never a good thing. And for us to have lived in such a high panicked, yes, we fear the unknown. It's like when you got a hurricane and people go looting stores or and they go shooting up. We know we had these all kind of crazy stuff were happening when this whole thing started. It was people's fear. And people were acting out unfair. And now we look back on it. Yes, we do have to protect ourselves,
Right.
but at the same time, we overdid it. And I think we have to find a balance now. And please, because I'm vaccinated and I don't get my 2 shots, and me saying that I better off or worse off than nobody else. All I'm saying is, yes, you do have to protect yourself. I refuse to travel. I went on a plane for the first time in November for Thanksgiving, and I was panicking. And I had on one mask. I want like Debbie fully clothed. I had my hair covered and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. I was panicking because I didn't want to fly, but I did. I'm saying when after I came back, I was like, "Think you overacted. You overdid it."
How you
So
know?
what about you, Karen?
My fears made me overact. Say that again to the point where I wasn't going to go. Is what I'm saying.
Oh.
So what about you, Karen?
With the whole dating environment, or
With
I've,
married people, dating, just
I've
relationships
I've had
pertaining to COVID?
four I've had four friends or four people that I know um, divorced during this time.
Wow, that's a lot.
It was supposed to be five, but one of them decided to go to therapy, and there's a lot of stuff that they discovered about themselves after being in um, close quarters because they were both, you know, non-essential workers, so they had to stay home with the kids. I've had horror stories where people really discovered that they didn't even like themselves much as like the people that they were with continuously. Um, I tend to be a sounding board because there's a lot of
So I
things I
don't
did
call you
not
back.
get to experience. But we we have had people who've had nervous breakdowns. We've had people who have, you know, been through a lot. I've
Suicide
discovered a
rate
lot of
went
things.
up.
Yeah, I have discovered a lot of things about myself, and for me, 90% of them was positive. Um, so for me, I didn't have that bad experience like some. Like I really feel for them because you know, for me at this space in my life, I've learned to use a lot of my negative, and I try to figure out what the positive is in it. And it caused me to make decisions that I wouldn't ordinarily make, like to do stuff, like to relocate and to start painting and to start living my best life regardless. But I've experienced people who divorced, relationships that went in and out. People got into a relationship because they didn't want to be by themselves. So they pick up somebody, and that didn't end well. But some of it is because a lot of people have demons that they didn't get to face until they had to spend time with self. Till you had to be quiet. When you go through the hustle and bustle of life, like I used to have a 5-hour commute every day. So if I'm not commuting, I'm working or I'm sleeping, and you only have 24 hours in a day. So there was no time to self-reflect. And when you start self-reflecting, like you no longer have a 2-hour commute. So when you log off, that 2 hours is now either I cooked and you cooked and you have another 5 hours before you go to sleep. And you have to start filling in those gaps, whether it's exercise and whatever. And I realized I was a boring person. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I realized that I really didn't do jack. Like, what did I do other than get up every day and go to work and come back? I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to my office at 7:30, to catch a 5 o'clock train to get home at 7:30, to eat, shower, and go to bed. And I did that repeatedly every day, or some days 5 days, 4 days a week. And when I sat and I was like, I'm boring. I didn't do anything. When you start seeing people, you know, doing stuff, you'll be like, what did I do? So for me, it gave me a lot of self reflection on myself. And I started enjoying me more, and that was my positive turning into negative. But I know there's people that have had phone calls with friends that really and truly cried themselves to sleep because they hated their husband. Like, I can't
Wow.
believe I'm married to this man for so long. And people went back to smoking, hiding in the closet from the children and the family. These are serious things that a lot of people went through because they were now forced to be in close quarters with people that they thought they knew their entire life.
Hmm. What about you, Debbie? That was well said,
Oh,
Karen.
okay.
Go ahead,
Deborah?
Louis. Go ahead. No, Louis wants to say something.
I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to add to what Karen said too, and I know the one demographic of people that really, really got affected were the parents that needed to stay home with their kids during the online education. Those are the real heroes because they went through hell and high water for that adjustment. I have definitely heard a lot of stories with regards to that. Well
You
said.
But you
know
know
what,
what,
Even
Louis?
even
Louis?
even
Louis,
even the
sorry to
teachers
cut
that
you
were
off.
doing the online trainings. Yeah, go ahead.
You know what, man? Sorry to cut you off. They learn how terrible them children is really, really in
Exactly.
class.
Exactly.
You check because some of them children so nasty and forward. Them teachers, I commend them. You understand me?
Yeah.
Because I
Hmm.
would have done get locked up from the first day. I boxing off your nasty, rude, no child that come out here. So now as a parent, you stuck with your own product that is so nasty that you
Hmm.
realizing that your
Hmm.
child is dumb, you have no
And
and you
and
see
you're
it for
trying to push
yourself,
off on other
but you
people to
want to
deal with.
cuss off the teacher, you ain't doing your job. No, it's your
Yep.
turn to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
This
So,
pandemic,
I sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
this pandemic forced a lot of people to take a look at self and the way how they behave. Because these teachers, them, right? I mean, these parents will go down to school, cuss off the teacher because their child come home and say and did something, right? Now, with the child at home now, the parents them can see exactly what they've been trying to put blinders on of who they're raising in their house. Some parents have been forced to deal with the situation. Others just still like, what? I need to go back to work as soon as possible and still pawn the child off on the teacher. And I agree with Randy. We have to applaud teachers because they put up with a lot of shit.
And
You
that's
know
why
what
a
I'm
lot of
saying?
teachers quit. A
Yeah.
lot of teachers are
Yeah,
realizing that this is not the career for me. I know
yeah, a
somebody
lot. And once
who
again,
quit their nursing job to go and do
yeah,
Uber. They
the
are Ubering
pandemic.
and they are happy as hell.
Yeah,
And they gave
the
up a
pandemic.
nursing job that was paying them. I think she was getting like 5,000 a week. She was
Right.
grossing 20,000 a month. And she
Mm.
was like, I'm here risking my life to save people, and you want to go out there and act like you're invisible. She was driving Uber. She said she tell the people when she picked them up, put on your mask, and they put on their mask. And here I in the hospital suit down in a mask. I risking myself for 5,000 a week. She said, no, no. I've known a lot of nurses who quit their job because people are literally fighting them because they don't want to put on a mask. And, at the end of the day, they're bawling. They're like, no, I ain't doing this. I do And this woman was making an average in Chicago 20,000 a month.
Mm.
And you know what she taught herself? That money is not everything.
It's not.
Exactly.
This
It wasn't.
pandemic has
And
taught.
to me, those were the valuable lessons
Yeah.
that we learned. I don't speak for myself because the fear we were living under, the constant, not the inability to change, the inability to be flexible. We thinking that life is about this, life is about that, and you come to the conclusion it isn't. It's about, like Karen said, self care. Like what I've been doing with my last several years. Like Karen said, people were getting into relationships because they feel like they were gonna die, or people were coming out of relationship because they feel like both parties were feeling like life too short, so I'm gonna get in a relationship and be with anybody and just make bad mistakes. And then other people were saying they life short and they getting out of bad relationships because life too short and they want to find things that's meaningful. So you had that going on the two spectrums, but I think the biggest thing that the pandemic should have taught us all when it comes to relationship, individual lives, whatever individual relationship with self, is that we have to open our mind. We have to be flexible. We have to be willing to change. We have to understand that doing things this particular way has not been working and will not work if we continuously do it. It will kill us.
So let's let Debbie have her say to lead us out, because it's we have like 5 more minutes. So Debbie, like you take it out and you end it, and let's hear your part.
Well, my part is the experience I had during this pandemic was definitely, as everybody I talk about all the time, I'm a foster parent, and the foster system was inundated because so many families were impacted during these last 2 years, for financial reasons, for being homeless, for domestic violence on the rise within the homes. And as a result, there are an enormous amount of kids in foster, and I have two. And even with me having two, I've also, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, Having two, I've also done what they call respite and had to keep kids on weekends. I mean, one night I got a call at 9 o'clock of the night to take a 5 and a 3-year-old for the weekend and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I just came off a training and they were just talking about, can you all help us recruit foster parents because of what's been going on in the system. So if nothing else, the pandemic has definitely magnified issues that were there already. But as Karen has said and Pinky said, I also think it gave us a lot of time to self-reflect, to work on yourself, because you had no choice in a lot of situations, to realize that the career path you were on was not the career path that was making you happy anymore. You wanted the flexibility to now be around your family a lot more, because you realize, like, wow, in some cases you do like them more than and you weren't spending time with them. So you see so many people now working from home, or taking that opportunity if they can work from home. So I mean, it has its pros and its cons, but I know for sure it has definitely impacted relationships, and just how we're going to start, the direction that we're going to go to, because again, we never know if we're going to have additional variants. So and this is not over. So um you have your pros and cons. I just think it has definitely changed the world in so many ways, and it definitely has changed relationships. I think people have realized, can I do things on my own, or do I need a partner, or do I want a partner? How do you see relationships? So when you were just busy and you didn't have to think about it, you just did it. Now you have a lot more downtime, so you're thinking about life and the decisions that you make and how you go forward in your future. So um, again, we never have enough time. Randy, I saw that you put that, but maybe that's somebody that can join us on another show. Um, but I again want to thank everybody for joining us and for your comments. Again, extend our sympathies to the family that has been affected. And there's been a lot going on already for 2022. So sending positive vibes to everybody, and just be safe. And we'll see you here next week.
Well said.
Definitely, definitely. Thanks to
Good night.
everyone, Pinky, Karen, of course, Randy, Lucian, and Debbie, and it's in true fashion. Again, condolences to the Shank family. Definitely our prayers go out to them, and wishing them and everyone good things, great things, and beautiful things.
All right.
Good
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 night,
night,
night.
all.
everybody.
Good night,
All
everybody.
right.